right? And they're our partners here, the deplorables. What's most amazing, big story on Fox News last night, Chinese American mobilize against critical race theory.
Yes.
And you've had so many deplorables, so many leaders in Congress, right? So many whites have been so scared of, as you know, Raheem, the relentless attacks when you question critical race theory. And I've said from day one, hey, there's going to be other people popping up with this thing because the things, it's nothing but cultural Marxism. And the people that know it the best are, that's why we did all the shows in the spring. Remember that, Raheem, on the Saturdays? The people that know the Cultural Revolution, the people that know cultural Marxism are the Chinese people because of Mao and what happened back in the 60s in the Cultural Revolution. And here we're honored to have Phil Wong, and he's president. He's head of a group called Chinese Americans Citizens Alliance for Greater New York. I know that's a mouthful, but it's a Chinese American group, and they've stood up and they said that critical race theory is actually hate-filled. It's divisive. It hurts broader society, and it's particularly designated against Asians. They're saying what? So, Phil, we're honored to have you come on, and thank you very much for coming in the War Room, sir.
It's great to be here, Steve.
So, Phil,
thank you. Good morning, everybody.
Just tell us how you guys got involved. How did you guys had the Chinese American Citizens Alliance of Greater New York? How did you guys get into critical race theory? How did you start doing these writings, and how did you have the courage to actually stand up to this?
It started about several years ago when the New York City Department of Education hired a chancellor that believes in throwing out the present merit-based system and replace it with admission policies that based on race-based quotas and lotteries. And then what started it was about 2.5 years ago when they hire a new deputy chancellor. Her title was Deputy Chancellor of School, Climate, and Wellness. And her name is LaShawn Robinson, Robinson. And she started going to district to district and start presenting these indoctrinations of so-called implicit bias sensitivity training. She was doing it on school districts. She was doing it to superintendents, even principals. And soon that a group of parents realized, including myself, that this is all a cover of what they're really promoting is the critical race theory. So they've infiltrated our schools and pretending to be a culturally, ethically responsive pedagogy, and then they start including them in curriculums. And then we see them in New York Times coverages, and then we start all these hate groups coming out, denouncing or show us that you are not a racist, and then we have little seminars all over the city proving that individuals or parents and teachers are not racist. But in fact, at the very roots, critical race theory is racist, is repressive, is discriminatory, and divisive. So we realized that, and then we decided to write up this press release, and then we got nationwide responses, not just from New York City, all over the country, wrote to our website praising us for taking a position on the critical race theory.
So what do you hope to accomplish? You're against the critical race theory. What would you like to see? Obviously, you would like to see that. You think it's indoctrination. You would like to see that out of the school system. What are you guys proposing is the alternative?
We mobilized a lot of Asian parents, mostly Chinese Americans, in defending screen schools. We defend the specialized high schools. We defend the gifted and talented programs, and all three are being targeted for elimination. And we have told the parents we need to start fighting back and recognize the critical race theory through this fraudulent packaging. Call it out and resist. And we ask parents to watch out for these CLT indoctrinations, talk to each other, just like the Cupertino Chinese parents did, and call them out and organize. and also parents need to talk to their kids to anti-indoctrinate them at home. And this needs to start early because CRT indoctrination also starts early, and don't trust schools and teachers blindly. They're there to promote it.
I think what Phil's doing here, Steve, is so important, okay? And it's example for everybody who's watching, for everybody who's listening. You can get organized. You can take action. You do not have to accept this leftist junk. You don't have to accept the leftist ideology in your schools. You don't have to accept it in your community. And Phil, what you've done, you went out, you got your friends, you got neighbors, people came together. And what happened, Steve, we're talking about this courage is contagious.
Yep.
Okay,
Big
people
time.
see a guy like Phil
Big
who's willing to
time.
step up.
Parents
and then
about
what
schools.
happens, people come out and they join. And if I could, I want to make one other important historical point about what's so important about what Phil's doing. Right now, there is tremendous prejudice against Asian Americans in a lot of institutions of higher education. And if you go back, we were talking about anti-Semitism. There used to be prejudice against Jews in institutions of higher education. And you look right now, and you often see the exact same language that is being used by the left to promote their prejudice. Thank goodness we got folks like Phil who are standing
Phil,
up.
real quick, we got 2 minutes, and the question I got to ask you is: does it help because of, we're a huge channel for the Lao Beijing, we're in Mandarin broadcast simultaneously. Is it help that you guys have a better feel because of your parents and grandparents understanding Mao and the Cultural Revolution, the Red Guard, to understand the struggle sessions that critical race theory actually talks about? Do you think that helps put you guys in a position to understand what these lies are and how the propaganda infiltrates into the schools?
That's right. We know right away because my parents and my grandparents have seen it. These are the same tactics they used back in Cultural Revolution to enforce Chairman Mao ideologies. CLT is heavily influenced by hate promoters like Marx, Mao, Lenin, but they replace a class struggle with the term race struggle. So you are identified by your race and you're not a person anymore. And then and by your race alone, that you will be judged. And this is exactly what happened in Cultural Revolution or during when Stalin was in power. They're taking the same package, they're bringing it over here and promote it again. So this is socialism in America.
Phil, how do people get to your website? The whole audience wants to know what's your social media handle. They want to find out more about your fight.
Yes. Oh, sure, absolutely. It's CACAGNY.org, CACAGNY.org.
Okay, are you on Twitter or social media at all? Do you have a Twitter handle? Any social media?
We are all based on volunteers. Well, we're gonna get our social media organized.
Perfect.
We will have one soon.
We're looking for having
right now. Our website is packed.
We'll put the website in
So
there.
good what Phil's doing. Can I make a point, too?
Sure.
I want Chinese Americans who are listening to this to stand up to join with Phil because the point that you're making, Steve, it's so important. They experienced it. Their parents experienced it. Their grandparents experienced it. It was the same way in the fight against communism. Polish Americans in the United States, right? They were some of Reagan's strongest supporters.
Take down the CCP. Phil Wong, thank you very much. We're going to get your website up. An American hero right here in New York City. That's what I'm saying.